Hi there. In order to tell an effective story with data, whether you're using Power BI or any other software, you need to understand the principles of effective data storytelling. The amount of data collected is ever increasing. And with that, the visualization of this data is becoming more and more commonplace. In general, this means that information is easier to digest, but just as statistics can be used selectively to present a biased argument, data visualization and storytelling can easily confuse the reader and even make the information harder to digest. To avoid this, here we present a guide to the best practice principles of data storytelling. Data storytelling sits at the crossroads of art and science, and utilizes both to improve insights. 90% of the information transmitted from the eye to the brain is visual, and we process images 60,000 times faster than text. As well as this, studies have shown that visuals can improve both data comprehension and retention by up to 400%, and are much more likely to trigger an emotional response than text alone. So how do you harness this power in a way that makes the story clear and concise to the reader? The primary principles for clear data storytelling are providing a journey to the reader and clear navigation through that journey. Without either of these, the piece is unclear from the start. This can take many different forms, from sidebars or tabs that sit unconnected from the data itself, to more interconnected and subtle hints that prompt the user to move in a certain direction. Either of these and others are fine. Just ensure that you have a clear direction and flow for the reader. As well as having clear navigation within your piece, it should be presented as a journey, with a start, middle and ending. It aids the navigation of a piece if the reader can see how the journey starts, usually with an introduction and a summary of what the piece sets out to tell or show you, how it evolves, the main facts and figures, and the conclusion it comes to. The next evolution of data visualization is dynamic and interactive content, which uses code to bring the visualizations to life. You can utilize dynamic content in Power BI to bring your data to life without any prior knowledge of coding. This ability to interact with the data, model different scenarios, and create visualizations on the fly is a huge advantage of using Power BI, but again its use must be moderated. Excessive use of animations, explorable data sets, maps and so on, can detract from the narrative. This is a relatively simple thing to keep in mind whilst producing a data story. Essentially, you want to reveal more as you go through the piece. Whilst obvious navigation and an excellent story structure are key elements, if you reveal all of your findings and conclusions at the top, there is little reason for a reader to go further. By progressively revealing data and conclusions throughout the piece, you keep the reader engaged all the way to the end. And ultimately this is the goal. To effectively craft a data-driven story, a balance must be struck between the narrative intended by the author and story discovery on the part of the reader. This can be a tricky thing to achieve, especially since you're looking to guide the reader through the story from start to finish. But there are some key ways Power BI can help you. Interactive data sets let the reader explore information for themselves, leading to discoveries on their own part. Consider leaving the conclusion more open-ended and allowing the reader to come to their own conclusions. Working with Power BI means you need to have clean data. Thankfully, since Power BI integrates with so many platforms, the tools for cleaning and formatting the data are excellent. Consider visualization best practices and using best fit visuals that will help guide an audience through a data story. But be wary of elements that don't add to the message. Ensure that the connectors are in place to make the story flow. Test your piece works as you intend, and get others to try it as well. Ensure it works on multiple devices and that transitions are smooth. Power BI will handle the majority of this, but it's always good practice to check things. Share your piece with as wide an audience as possible. The wider range of ages and backgrounds, the more useful the feedback will be, as the piece should be accessible to all. To explore more productivity tips, blogs, infographics, and other learning content, head on over to the resources page on our website.